Let's start with two facts about the Crow series that are hard to believe. First, this is fifth movie in the series. Not the second, not the third, fifth. And the surprises don't stop there. This one got a 20% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is undeniably bad, but it's still the second best rated movie in the series, following the original The Crow. What does that tell you? It means the three films that came between Brandon's The Crow and this one were so awful that most people don't even know they exist. Unfortunately, the 2024 version of The Crow, directed by Rupert Sanders, leans more toward the worst side of things. Is it the story, acting, or art direction? Let's dive into what makes this movie such a mess. Let me break down the plot for you, but don't worry, it won't take long. Every The Crow movie essentially follows the same story. A guy named Eric and a girl named Shelley fall deeply in love. Then they are brutally murdered by a gang led by a devil-worshipping music mogul named Vincent Rogue. Eric is resurrected by the Crow and sets off on a revenge spree, armed with the invincible, self-healing body. Some of you may have already guessed the main reason this The Crow was doomed from the start. Yep, it's the story. I can name 10 other movies with a similar plot without even trying. John Wick, Gladiator, Taken, The Punisher. You get the idea.
I will kill you.
My point is, a guy out for revenge after losing a loved one isn't interesting anymore. Yet, this series keeps recycling the same tired story, expecting it to be exciting. The idea of coming back to life with an invincible body was fresh when the first The Crow came out, but that novelty wore off a long time ago. Now it's more of a problem than a perk. There's no tension, no sense of danger, because nothing can kill or even hurt him permanently. Plus, he's already lost everything, so there's nothing left to protect. We all know exactly how the story will unfold before we even sit down to watch it. And to make matters worse, it drags on so slowly that it becomes painful. It's like hearing the same old story you've heard 100 times before, told by someone who's just not good at telling it. If the original story isn't particularly interesting, you might wonder what made the first The Crow movie an exception. Was there something special that made it stand out? Honestly, I don't think it was that great either. Not terrible, but not amazing. It was a successful B-movie at best. The only thing that made it memorable was the tragic fact that it was Brandon Lee's last film. Ironically, his death gave both his performance and the film a new life. Knowing what happened to Brandon, you could feel the sorrow in his eyes, and that made the dark character more convincing. Now let's talk about Bill Skarsgård as the new Eric the Crow. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear his name? Yup, Pennywise from It, right?
Beep beep Richie.
He's done other roles since then, but to me, he's still that clown with the freaky smile. Unfortunately for him, none of his performances have been strong enough to replace that image. And maybe this time, it's not entirely his fault. It's not so much about how he performed. It's that he just doesn't fit as the Crow. He doesn't come off as vengeful or deep. Instead, he looks like a kid who lost his ice cream to a bully. You have to sit through him whining about the death of his girlfriend Shelley, when what you really want is to see some intense, bloody revenge. His acting comes off as cheesy because the lines are unbearably cringeworthy.
Single one of them.
And there is zero chemistry between Bill and FK Twigs, who plays Shelley. Just like we can't shake the clown image from Bill, FK Twigs stays, well, FK Twigs throughout the movie. An eccentric musician rather than a convincing character. Some movies are worth watching just for their unique visual style. Think Sin City, Kill Bill, or any Wes Anderson film. The Crow is based on James O'Barr's comic book, which falls squarely into the Gothic genre. So naturally, you'd expect this movie to stay true to that style. That's what I was hoping for, at least. The genre is all about death, darkness, self-destruction, spirituality, the afterlife, goth music, and fashion. But it's questionable whether director Rupert Sanders even understands the genre or the movie at all. Take a look at how Bill and FK Twigs are styled. Do they look goth enough to you? Not to me. If we failed at everything else, maybe it could at least nail the revenge theme, right? Sorry, but no. The story structure is a mess, and it unfolds so poorly that the revenge doesn't even feel satisfying. The opera scene isn't bad as an action sequence on its own, but it comes after so much wasted time that all the energy and interest are gone. What's the point of having a decent action scene when you've already lost interest in the revenge, the characters, and the movie itself? If you are looking for a great example of a revenge story done right, check out The Man from Nowhere. It features a similar revenge plot, but masterfully builds tension, releasing it at just the right moment for maximum impact. It might be tempting to try to bring the Crow back to life, because let's face it, the character looks cool, but it's time to let him rest. Continuing this franchise only tarnishes the legacy of Brandon Lee. My rating for The Crow? Not a game. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.